Bienvenidos al canal, bienvenidos a un nuevo vídeo cortito, presentación mundial del nuevo GT3 RS. Ajustaros, poneros los arneses, yo ya lo he visto, vais a flipar. Así que no me enrollo más y empezamos. Ya os digo, es un vídeo muy cortito, la presentación ha sido muy cortita, muy intensa y os va a sorprender muchísimo. Yo ya me he gastado 20 euritos en el euromillón porque necesito un coche de estos. Si el GT4 RS me alucinó, esto es next level. Wow. No sé vosotros, pero yo ya tengo los pelos de punta.
Welcome to the world premiere of the new Porsche 911 GT3 RS. My name is Patrick Long. I've had the distinct honor of...
Bueno, es Patrick Long, que ha sido conductor, ha conducido para Porsche, como podéis ver, 2 veces ha ganado 24 horas de Le Mans, ha ganado en Daytona, ha ganado en Sebring, o sea, pilotazo.
Being part of the family for the last 2 decades, both on the racetrack and on the street. And every single time I've jumped into a 911 GT3 RS, I've left with a smile on my face and some pretty warm tires. I'm not going to introduce this car by myself. I have a great guest with me, Andy Preuninger.
Hi. Bueno, ahí tenéis, este es piloto y Eddie Prenger, que es el diseñador oficial, o sea, el que ha diseñado el coche. Voy a ir no parando mucho, comentando cositas, no os lo quiero hacer muy pesado.
Father of the GT3, nice to see you.
Good to see you, Pat.
So as soon as I walk in, there it is, the 996 GT3 RS.
Yes.
Bueno, aquí nos dice el primer GT3 RS fue en el año 2003, este 996 con 380 caballos, el 3.6.
Car that we both started this company's tenure with, an amazing car, so close to the car that I drove on the racetrack, but then it got interesting.
Yeah, well, the first 996 RS was a homologation special to homologate parts that we needed in the race cars that you were driving back then.
Vale, dice que el coche fue un homologation special, que es pues lo típico que había, que necesitaban homologar en coche de calle cosas, piezas para poder usar en el coche de carreras.
In this case, it was steering knuckles and some suspension parts, and we built a whole new model around it and continued that way with the 997 GT3 RS, which got the wide body of the turbo, which...
Vale, ya nos habla que más adelante pues ya pasaron al 997, que tenía un wide body parecido al del turbo, y este ya era un coche, el otro era un GT3 con alguna pieza, y esto ya empieza a ser otro mundo. Y ya pasamos, ese motor 3.6 pasa ya hasta los 415 caballos.
Which was very distinctively looking and even more aero, even more lightweight trickery. So it started the model range RS, if you put it like that. And on the next step was the second generation RS, which got a new engine, 3.8 liters.
Este ya cambia, para mí es el más bonito de todos. Este tenía un motor 3.8, como veis, de 450 caballos, aunque hubo una edición muy limitada, que es una joya de este coche con el motor 4 litros, que lo que sabéis es de coleccionista.
Of displacement instead of 3.6, more power, more aero, wider track front and back, and even more lightweight, like the carbon fiber stuff. So it was a pretty nice evolution.
When I first jumped into the 991 RS, I thought to myself, how do they do it? How do they give you a product that you can absolutely punish on the racetrack lap after lap after lap?
Vale, un salto enorme que hubo del 997 al 991, donde ya es un coche mucho más de carreras, para un coche de carreras que puedes usar vueltas y vueltas y vueltas, y aquí nos presentan tanto el punto 1 como el punto 2.
I recognize so much aero advancement,
Más aero,
much powertrain advancement,
más potencia,
and always the aesthetics. You guys always raise the game with the aesthetics, which is a huge part of the emotional connection of these cars.
An RS always has to be beautiful.
Claro, dice que verlo tan gordo es como la unión que te hace cuando es tu coche y dices, madre mía, qué gordo es, y tienen toda la razón.
Absolutely. Next one was the current one, I would say, till
si
today.
No sabéis, esas entradas
the
que
second
tienen
gen
ahora es para enfriar los
featuring
frenos
even more
delanteros.
lightweight stuff and an engine that was totally revised with 520 horsepower.
So it begs the question, which one of these is your favorite?
Well, they're all my favorites, but like in every family, the newest member always gets the most love. And my new love has a name. It's 992 GT3 RS, definitely.
Ahí está. Bueno, pues a ver, si no lo habéis visto por redes, atentos, agarraros, fijaros, qué bestialidad. Esto es un coche de carreras 100% con una matrícula. Y de carreras, ahora os explicaré por qué. ¡Wow! Chicos, €1.000.000 para todos. Simplemente brutal. ¿Qué os parece?
Doesn't this car look sharp? I think it's more radical, even more radical than a race car. Maybe more radical than a race car you've been driving.
Dice que es un coche más radical, que se ve más radical que un coche de carreras y que más radical que el coche de carreras que conducía él.
It's insane. There's more air detail here than I think I've ever seen in any street car.
That's right. I mean, all the exits, all the air vents, all the flaps are there for a reason. There's nothing fake, there's nothing...
Vale, dice que es el coche que tiene más aerodinámica que haya visto en un coche de calle y lo que dice que realmente todo el aero que veis no hay nada fake y todo, ahora lo veréis, está trabajadísimo para que todo ese aero que se ve sea, pero 100% necesario para que el coche tenga un comportamiento tan brutal.
Nothing exaggerated. I can't remember any project where we spent more days and nights, countless hours in the wind tunnel.
Ahora lo veréis, también dice que es el coche, el proyecto en el que ha trabajado él, donde más horas se han utilizado en el túnel de viento.
The new GT3 RS takes road car aerodynamics into a completely new sphere. We've never put so much effort in the development of a GT sports car. With over 1,500 simulations
and
more than 250 hours in the wind tunnel, we've been able to achieve a new level of performance. We doubled the downforce compared to its predecessor, and in comparison
Esto es muy importante, fijaros, el anterior GT3 RS, este tiene el doble de downforce, es una locura, y tiene 3 veces más que el GT3 actual. Increíble.
The GT3, it has even been tripled.
Fijaros todas las
This radical
entradas.
change in downforce is due to a new packaging of the front of the car. The 3-radiator layout is now a mono-radiator concept like we use in our uncompromising race car, like the GT3R.
Dice que es, os pongo un poquito aquí para atrás para que lo veáis.
The front of the car. The 3-radiator.
Fijaros, nuevos radiadores, es como el coche de carreras, no tiene maletero frontal y fijaros, tiene por aquí unos radiadores y esos laterales que se ven es para sacar el aire hacia los lados, así que se acabó llevar maletas adelante, no tiene maletero frontal, entonces no tiene maletero el coche, porque atrás obviamente no es como mi GT4 que tiene maletero, este coche no tiene maletero.
The layout is now a mono-radiator concept like we use in our uncompromising race car, like the GT3R.
Como he dicho, como el GT3R, como el GT3.
The first time in our road car history, we have a proper high-performance front wing that is also fully active and infinitely adjustable. We can rotate the front flap by over 80 degrees, and this in just 0.3 of a second. By rotating the flap in high downforce position, we achieve the maximum downforce configuration and the load on the front is raised to a maximum. We needed to increase the venting of the wheelhouse. The traditional outlet on top of the fender with the louvers was not enough anymore.
Decían que no es suficiente. Fijaros, el GT3 fue uno de los primeros RS que tuvo estas salidas de aire para las turbulencias que genera la rueda, pero dice que no es suficiente, entonces ahora el aire sale por arriba y por el lateral, igual que si fuese un coche de la categoría GT3, un coche de carreras.
The passage for the air behind the front wheels was designed in order to increase the venting. Even the door design was affected by it. Not only does the new GT3 RS has turning lanes on the underfloor, they can also be found on the roof of the car. When the hot air exits the front radiator, it would just flow over the top of the roof and the engine air is affected by it. So we have a new hood outlet that pushes the air to the sides and...
Claro, que te está diciendo cuando sale el aire de los radiadores que hay adelante donde está el maletero, Antes iban al techo y lo que han hecho es sacarlo hacia los lados para mejorar la
The
aerodinámica.
roof fins continue this work and keep the hot air on the outward direction. The rear wing is of course huge. It is made of a fixed main plane and the movable second element, the flap. Together with the active system in the front, we can reduce the drag by nearly 30%. When you press the DRS button, DRS, drag reduction system, the car turns the flaps into a low downforce position and you achieve the lowest drag of the car.
Está diciendo el sistema DRS, cuando tú aprietas el DRS como la Fórmula 1, todo el sistema de aerodinámica activa pone el aero en lo mínimo posible para que tenga más velocidad punta y para que el coche se frene menos y corra un poquito más, por ejemplo en rectas.
The new GT3 RS is really a whole new milestone in road car aerodynamics. The combination of these two new aero systems, as front and rear, gives you the perfect aero balance and perfect aero setup for every condition on the racetrack.
Al ser todo se puede modificar, el coche puedes poner el aero perfecto para cualquier circuito que vayas, si está lloviendo, si hay muchas rectas, pocas rectas, o sea, todo configurable para sacarle el 100% al coche en todos los circuitos.
Unbelievable.
Increíble.
In many ways, it suggests this car would be on par with an FIA GT3 race car.
Yeah, I think from the downforce values it is. It produces 860 kilos.
Fijaros, está diciendo que es que prácticamente tiene un downforce como si fuese un coche GT3 de la categoría GT3, 286 kilos, es una brutalidad. Y fijaros, ahora van a hablar del alerón. El alerón está al límite de la legalidad, está al límite del techo, no sobrepasa el techo por un pelín para que sea legal y no sobrepasa el lateral por un pelín. O sea, han buscado hasta el último milímetro para tener ese pedazo de alerón.
At 285 kilometers per hour, which is a speed that you reach on a Döttinger Straight, for example, on Nürburgring. And just look at the father of all wings. It's towering so high above the car, it's even a little bit higher than the roofline of the car.
I'm convinced this has to be the most extreme street-legal GT car ever.
Absolutely. That was what we were aiming at when we began with the project.
Legal,
and the great thing about it is it offers such a great, rewarding driving experience on the track. It put a smile on my face every time I use it on the track. And
fijaros cómo se centra Porsche en esto. Es un coche que te deja una sonrisa cuando vas al circuito. Esto no es un coche para usar por la calle. Lo puedes usar por la calle, pero ellos han pensado este coche para que se use en circuito.
And all the development team as well. And that's a good sign that all the customers will love it too.
I can imagine. That brings me to my next curious question about lightweight materials.
Lots of those to be found on that car, even though we hide them away with paint.
Ahora van a hablar del peso, ya veréis lo que pesa y todo lo que va a señalar, todo en fibra de carbono. No os voy a traducir porque se nota fácil, se ve fácil, todo lo que toca es fibra de carbono y hay un punto muy especial ahora.
The ducktail is made of carbon fiber, as is the rear wing, as is the roof. We have very, very thin glass that is super lightweight all around the car.
Pesan menos de lo normal.
And for the first time, this car features carbon fiber doors.
Puertas de fibra de
shave off
carbono.
almost 5 kilos of the weight of the car. And integrated into the aerodynamical system of the car, having a different shape than the normal 911 door. And we have conventional door handles. Let's go to the front. Front fenders, carbon fiber, front lid, carbon fiber, and lots of bits on the suspension as well are carbon fiber or super lightweight materials. If you look at the interior, lightweight carpentry, extensive use of microfiber cloth. So we're looking at every component of the car, and there's lots of bits on the car. I mean, it's our passion to make these cars as lightweight as possible.
And the heart and soul of these cars. Let's talk a little bit about the engine.
It's a 4-liter flat six, 9,000 RPM. We upped the power by 15 horsepower over the GT3, so it has 525.
Este motor yo creo que ya no le pueden sacar más a este 4 litros. Y tiene 525 caballos, 465 Nm y ya está al límite del límite. Yo creo que ya los siguientes, si quisiesen mejorar, tendrían que hacer un 4.2.
5 horsepower by using hotter cams with longer duration, so the car makes more power at high RPM operation, has different cylinder heads for more lubrication in super high G situations, which that car really produces. We changed the cooling system a little bit.
I get excited when you talk about cam tweaking, more cooling. GT3 RS and PDK, they go together.
Absolutely. RS means range sport, means using the car on the track, trying to get the best performance out of the car on the clock as well. So you need a 7-speed PDK. It shifts faster, it is quicker, and it is easier to operate, to get the best lap times out of the car, and it's the perfect fit for that kind of car and for that engine.
I spent a lot of seasons racing with Jörg Bergmeister, and sharing a car with him, it was very apparent he's a bit of a suspension guru. I assume he's quite the same and pushes your team pretty hard.
He's a perfectionist, absolutely. He's never happy with the suspension, and he really drove our suspension engines to their limit. But it was a good thing for the car.
Y es una suspensión más avanzada, o sea, más racing que la del GT3.
We're sitting in the new GT3 RS. The current GT3 already set a really high bar in terms of balance with its double wishbone front axle, but the new GT3 RS is a whole other level.
El GT3 normal es una pasada, pero esto ya es otro nivel.
It's really sensitive to right height changes, especially under braking. The front usually gains a lot of downforce. But we made a change to the front geometry and put more anti-dive in it, and that gives us a more equal aero load under braking as well and keeps the balance consistent. So usually to change the damper settings you need a mechanic, but with our new steering wheel it's just a press of a button and you can adjust.
Bueno, y que él dice que ahora es todos los cambios que se puedan hacer desde el volante. Por ejemplo, puedes hacer, aquí veis, cuando se puede cambiar de la suspensión muchos puntos desde el volante. Por si hay un circuito más bacheado, más plano, pues todo lo puedes ir ajustando desde el volante en tiempo real.
Compression and rebound front and rear axle while driving. And it's a really big tool for a driver. You can adjust the car perfectly to any racetrack or tire conditions.
Punto importante, en este vídeo veo que el neumático que lleva el coche es Goodyear. No sé si llevará Goodyear de serie o Cap 2R o no sé, eso sería bueno saberlo.
For instance, on a really bumpy track, you can go a little softer on the overall damping.
Hay muchos baches, pues
or
puedes
you're
ir
on a
cambiando
really
el
smooth
setup
track or
para
have plenty
que el
of
coche vaya
grip
mejor.
from brand new tires, for instance. You can go a little stiffer overall. So basically, it's a race car driver's dream come true.
Coche de carreras.
Also on the steering wheel, one of my favorite features is an adjustable differential. For instance, when you're struggling with a little nervous rear on corner entry, you can add some more differential on coast, or if you're struggling with oversteer on the corner exit, you just tighten the diff up on power a bit. So it's a really big tool. Also, when your tires degrade a bit, you can adjust the car really nicely with it. Yeah, so far you could either turn the traction control on or off, but now it's really cool. Just like in the race car, we have a fully adjustable traction control with 7 positions, and you can still switch it off just to your liking.
Si está lloviendo lo pones al 7,
yeah,
si no conoces al 7 lo vas bajando.
911 road car ever on a racetrack. It's so much fun, especially in the high-speed corners. The performance of the car is just amazing, and I'm sure you're gonna have as much fun with it as I do.
Pretty incredible. I want some of these features in some of my race cars.
Yeah, it's a serious track tool. It's built for the track. No compromise.
¿Habéis escuchado? Está construido para circuito. Todo. O sea, no es un coche pensado, no te puedes ir de viaje, no tiene maletero. Es un coche pensado para la gente que tiene dinero y le gusta ir a circuito.
Won't even feature a trunk anymore under the front lid.
Dice que ya no tiene maletero adelante.
Incredible. This car is really built for the track, and I hope that all the customers are really using it on the track, but they should train their neck muscles a little bit, because
lo que está diciendo que quiere que los clientes lo usen en circuito, y también dice que hay que entrenar, hay que tener cuidado con el cuello porque tiene muchas fuerzas G.
To tolerate the G-forces the car throws at you.
Well, you talk about the racetrack and it makes me think about the club sport package. I assume that comes with this car.
Bueno, ahora nos va a hablar de las opciones del coche. Ahora mismo nos va a hablar del paquete Club Sport.
Matter of fact, the car comes standard with the Club Sport package, which consists of 6-point harness, fire extinguisher, and for most markets with a rear roll cage.
Vale, y dice que el paquete Club Sport es los arneses de 6 puntos, igual que por ejemplo en mi coche, el extintor y la jaula trasera. Normalmente ese paquete en este coche es gratuito, lo puedes pedir con o sin, pero en mi GT4 había que pagarlo y los GT3 RS es gratuito ponerlo o quitarlo y en el GT3 también.
If I select the Weissach option, what does that entail?
Yeah, the Weissach option has been very popular on the last.
También dice que Weissach, bueno, ya aprenderé a decirlo, Weissach, el paquete Weissach, nos va a comentar ahora qué lleva, que es opcional obviamente, y nos dice que este coche no lo lleva.
RS model, so it will be an option here again. This is a non-Weissach package car, so if you would have opted for the Weissach package, the front lid would be visible carbon fiber, the roof would be visible carbon fiber, the lower section of the rear wing as well.
Que las tomas delanteras, eso que veis, sería en fibra de carbono, el techo en fibra de carbono visto y el alerón en fibra de carbono visto.
And we have bits in the interior as well, like the door handles will be carbon fiber, and even the suspension, the stabilizer bars front and rear, the transversal strut, alone on the suspension.
Y dice que en el interior fibra de carbono y en la suspensión, en las barras estabilizadoras y algún sitio más, cambian para ahorrar peso.
We shave off 5 kilos with the Weissach package. And another innovation, the rear roll cage for most markets will be in carbon fiber as well.
Unreal.
Vale, y dice que también tiene como opcional poner la fibra de carbono trasera en fibra de carbono, poner la barra antivuelco trasera en fibra de carbono como opcional.
There's such a presence live with this car. I cannot wait to see the public's reaction.
Me too, me too.
And it'll be on display on your home turf in California,
on the Monterey Car Show, and my plane's leaving this afternoon, so why don't you come with me?
I'm heading that way. I'll catch a ride.
Let's go.
Bueno, pues esta ha sido la presentación del nuevo Porsche 911 992 GT3 RS. ¿Qué os ha parecido? ¿Os ha gustado? Pues chicos, muchas gracias por ver este vídeo cortito. Os quería enseñar esto, así que si os ha gustado el vídeo, venga, suscribiros al canal y decirme qué coche os compraríais si no fuese este. Un saludo. Ay, por cierto, ¿cuánto pensáis que va a costar? Venga, chicos, mucho gas. Hasta luego.